Have you ever given your all in a relationship, doing everything to make the other person happy, only to feel like your love is never enough? Maybe you've noticed some people seem to receive love effortlessly, while you're left wondering why it's so hard to feel truly cherished. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone, and it's not just about bad luck or choosing the wrong partners. There's a deeper, psychological reason why this keeps happening, and understanding this truth could completely transform the way you experience love. In today's video, we're going to dive into the unconscious patterns that might be keeping you from the love you truly deserve. I'm going to share insights from Carl Jung and explain how your past and hidden beliefs could be shaping the way you see yourself, and ultimately, the way others love you. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to break free from this cycle and start attracting the kind of love that's been inside you all along. Stick with me until the end. This could change everything. Unconscious beliefs and their influence on relationships. Many people find themselves stuck in a repeating pattern of relationships where they feel unappreciated, unloved, or neglected. This pattern, however, isn't random or the result of bad luck. Rather, it stems from deep-rooted, often unconscious beliefs about themselves and their worth. Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist, once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This powerful quote reveals the core mechanism behind many of our emotional struggles, particularly in our relationships. When we feel unworthy of love or are unsure of our value, we unintentionally seek out relationships that reinforce these beliefs. For example, if someone subconsciously believes they are not deserving of true love, they might find themselves in relationships where the love they receive is conditional, inconsistent, or emotionally unavailable. Over time, this can create a sense of exhaustion and confusion, as they continue to give their all to people who, unfortunately, cannot provide the love they seek. These unconscious beliefs often stem from childhood experiences. If a person grew up in an environment where love was conditional, perhaps they received affection only when they behaved in certain ways or met specific expectations, they may internalize the belief that love must be earned. As adults, this belief can lead to a never-ending quest to prove their worth in relationships, often without realizing it. They may bend over backward, trying to be perfect or always available, in the hopes of receiving love. Unfortunately, this effort can backfire, as genuine love cannot be earned through performance. This is why it's crucial to look inward. If you find yourself constantly chasing affection or feeling like you never receive the love you truly need, it may be time to examine your beliefs about yourself. Ask yourself, do I believe I deserve unconditional love, or do I feel I must prove my worthiness? By identifying and confronting these unconscious beliefs, you can start to shift the way you engage in relationships and, more importantly, begin to heal from the inside out. The role of the shadow in love and relationships. A key concept in Jungian psychology is the shadow. The shadow is the part of ourselves that we hide or repress because it holds emotions, fears, and insecurities that we deem unacceptable or vulnerable. These might include feelings of inadequacy, fear of rejection, or the belief that we're unlovable. The more we try to suppress or deny these parts of ourselves, the more they influence our behavior, often without our conscious awareness. In relationships, this shows up in the form of attracting partners or situations that reflect the very things we fear or reject about ourselves. For example, someone who fears rejection may find themselves in relationships where their partner is emotionally distant or unavailable. This dynamic reinforces the person's fear of rejection, creating a vicious cycle. Similarly, if a person feels unworthy of love, they may unconsciously choose partners who treat them in a way that confirms this belief. These experiences are not random but rather serve as mirrors, reflecting the unhealed parts of ourselves that we have yet to face and integrate. To truly transform your relationship with love, you must begin by accepting your shadow. Instead of rejecting or hiding your vulnerabilities, embrace them. Acknowledge the parts of yourself that feel insecure, unworthy, or afraid. This doesn't mean that you should act on these fears or insecurities, but rather that you should allow yourself to feel them and understand where they come from. By doing so, you stop projecting these repressed parts onto your partners. And you also stop attracting people who reinforce these negative patterns. The process of integrating your shadow is not easy. It requires vulnerability and courage. It means acknowledging your flaws and imperfections without judgment. When you do this, you free yourself from the emotional prison of self-rejection, and as a result, your relationships begin to shift. Instead of attracting people who mirror your fears, you start to attract those who accept and love you for who you truly are. This acceptance can only come from within you first, and it begins with embracing all aspects of yourself. Shifting from external validation to self-love. Another critical shift in transforming your relationships is moving away from seeking external validation and toward practicing self-love. For many people, the idea of love is tied to the approval or affection of others. They may believe that they need to meet certain conditions or perform in specific ways to be loved. This belief can lead to a pattern of trying to please others at the expense of their own needs, desires, and sense of self-worth. When you rely on others for validation, you're giving away your power. You're placing your happiness and sense of self-worth in someone else's hands, which creates an unhealthy dynamic in your relationships. Instead of being loved for who you are, you become loved for what you can do for others or how well you can meet their expectations. This creates an imbalance, where you feel like you're constantly striving to prove yourself, but never quite receiving the love and affection you crave. The key to breaking this cycle is learning to love yourself unconditionally. This means offering yourself the same compassion, care, and understanding that you would give to a loved one. Self-love isn't about being perfect or flawless. It's about accepting yourself as you are, with all your strengths and weaknesses. When you begin to practice self-love, you stop seeking approval from others, and you begin to attract relationships that are grounded in mutual respect and genuine affection. One powerful practice for cultivating self-love is to take time each day to affirm your worth. Write down 3 things you appreciate about yourself, whether they are physical, emotional, or intellectual qualities. Remind yourself that you are deserving of love, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. This simple practice can help shift your mindset and strengthen your connection to yourself. As you cultivate this sense of inner validation, you'll notice a remarkable shift in your relationships. You'll stop attracting people who make you feel unworthy or undervalued, and instead, you'll attract those who see and appreciate your authentic self. True love flows when we stop chasing it and start embodying it within ourselves first. Breaking the cycle of emotional dependency. Emotional dependency often arises from a deep-seated belief that we need others to complete us. This belief can lead to an overwhelming need for attention, affection, or approval from a partner. When we feel incomplete or unfulfilled, we may look to others to fill that void, creating a cycle of emotional dependency that can be draining and unhealthy for both parties involved. The problem with emotional dependency is that it places the burden of your emotional well-being on someone else. You begin to believe that your happiness is tied to their actions, words, or behaviors. This creates an imbalance in the relationship, where you may constantly seek reassurance or validation, but never truly feel satisfied. The more you depend on someone else for your happiness, the more you lose sight of your own needs, desires, and sense of self. Breaking free from emotional dependency requires a shift in mindset. Instead of looking to others to complete you, start focusing on completing yourself. This doesn't mean you should isolate yourself or avoid connection, but rather that you should find fulfillment and contentment within. Engage in activities that nourish your soul. Develop your passions, and build a strong sense of identity that is independent of anyone else's approval or affection. As you learn to fulfill your own emotional needs, you'll find that your relationships become healthier and more balanced. You'll no longer feel the need to constantly chase affection or validation, because you'll already be full of love and self-worth. This shift allows for deeper, more authentic connections, where love is shared freely and without conditions. The importance of vulnerability in love. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, especially in a society that values strength and independence. However, vulnerability is actually one of the most powerful aspects of genuine love. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open ourselves up to deeper emotional connections and the possibility of authentic love. Without vulnerability, we cannot fully experience love because we're constantly hiding behind walls of protection, afraid to be seen for who we truly are. True love requires the willingness to be seen in all our imperfect glory, our fears, insecurities, hopes, and dreams. When we hide these parts of ourselves, we prevent others from truly knowing us. As a result, the love we receive will be superficial and disconnected from our true selves. By embracing vulnerability, we invite deeper intimacy and connection, both with ourselves and with others. Being vulnerable doesn't mean sharing every thought or feeling with everyone. But it does mean being honest with yourself and those you love. It means showing up authentically, even if it feels uncomfortable at times. As you embrace vulnerability, you'll find that love becomes more meaningful and fulfilling because it is built on a foundation of trust, acceptance, and mutual understanding. Recognizing patterns in your past relationships. As you reflect on your past relationships, a recurring theme may start to emerge. Perhaps you've noticed that no matter who you're with, you seem to experience the same emotional struggles, feelings of neglect, emotional distance, or unreciprocated love. These repeated patterns are not random, and they hold significant clues about your inner beliefs and emotional needs. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward breaking free from them. Often, we get caught in cycles where we unconsciously seek out the same type of person or dynamic, even when it doesn't serve us. For example, you may find yourself repeatedly choosing emotionally unavailable partners, or always feeling like you're not truly seen or appreciated. These patterns are like emotional scripts that we've internalized, based on past experiences and unresolved issues. They are not fate, but rather reflections of what we unconsciously believe about ourselves. The good news is that once you recognize these patterns, you can begin to change them. Ask yourself, what do these relationships have in common? What emotional wounds are being triggered over and over again? Are there recurring fears or needs that you have not fully addressed? By becoming aware of these patterns, you can start to make different choices and create healthier, more fulfilling relationships in the future. This self-awareness allows you to move away from reactive behavior and instead choose partners who align with your true needs and desires. Recognizing patterns doesn't mean blaming yourself for past mistakes. It simply means understanding that you have the power to break the cycle. By understanding the role your past plays in shaping your present relationships, you can start to heal old wounds and make space for new, healthier dynamics to emerge. The power of self-acceptance and radical transformation. One of the most profound changes you can make in your life is to accept yourself completely. This means embracing all parts of you, your strengths, your flaws, your fears, and your vulnerabilities. Self-acceptance is not about resigning yourself to being flawed, but rather about recognizing that your worth is inherent, regardless of your imperfections. This radical self-acceptance is the foundation for transforming how you experience love and relationships. When you fully accept yourself, you stop seeking validation from others because you no longer feel the need to prove your worth. You begin to live from a place of inner strength, grounded in the knowledge that you are worthy of love, just as you are. This shift in mindset transforms your relationships because you no longer rely on others to fulfill your emotional needs or to validate your self-worth. Instead, you attract people who can appreciate and love you for the authentic person you are. Embracing self-acceptance is not an easy process. It requires letting go of old stories and beliefs about yourself that no longer serve you. It may involve confronting the parts of yourself that you've hidden or denied for years. However, this process of radical transformation opens up the possibility for a deeper, more fulfilling connection with yourself and others. When you accept yourself unconditionally, you stop seeking perfection and start cultivating genuine love, both for yourself and for those around you. The importance of setting healthy boundaries. While self-acceptance and vulnerability are crucial for building meaningful relationships, they must be balanced with the ability to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that keep others out, they are guidelines that protect your emotional well-being while fostering respect and mutual understanding. Without clear boundaries, we may find ourselves in relationships that drain us or leave us feeling resentful. Healthy boundaries are necessary for maintaining a sense of self while still being open to love and connection. Setting boundaries involves understanding your own needs and limits and communicating them clearly to others. This might mean saying no when something doesn't feel right, or asserting your needs when you feel neglected. Healthy boundaries allow you to honor yourself while maintaining respect for others. In relationships, boundaries ensure that both partners can show up authentically, without compromising their emotional health or well-being. Establishing boundaries can be challenging, especially if you've been conditioned to prioritize others over yourself. However, healthy boundaries are essential for creating relationships based on mutual respect and trust. They allow you to engage with others from a place of strength, knowing that you are deserving of love and care, and that your needs are valid. The role of forgiveness and letting go of past wounds. A critical aspect of healing from past emotional wounds is the process of forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean excusing the behavior of others, nor does it mean that you should forget the pain you've experienced. Rather, forgiveness is an act of self-liberation. It allows you to release the emotional hold that past hurts have on your life, so you can move forward with a clean slate. When we hold on to grudges or resentment, we carry emotional baggage that keeps us stuck in the past. This baggage prevents us from fully experiencing love in the present because we are still tethered to old wounds. Forgiveness frees us from this emotional weight and allows us to create space for new, healthier relationships. By forgiving others, and more importantly, forgiving ourselves for any role we may have played in our past struggles, we let go of the past and open ourselves to healing and growth. Forgiveness is a process that takes time and patience, and it may involve difficult emotional work. It requires acknowledging the pain and disappointment that we've experienced, but also choosing to release it in order to create room for new possibilities. Forgiving ourselves is particularly important because it allows us to let go of feelings of shame, guilt, or inadequacy that may have shaped our past relationships. As we release these emotions, we can begin to attract more loving, fulfilling experiences into our lives, creating space for new love to flourish. Once we've done the work of self-acceptance, boundary setting, forgiveness, and recognizing patterns, it's time to create space for new love to flourish. This doesn't mean waiting passively for love to come to us, but rather actively creating an environment where love can grow. This involves cultivating a life that nourishes our emotional and spiritual needs, fostering healthy relationships, and maintaining a sense of independence and self-worth. Creating space for new love also means letting go of the belief that love is something external that we must chase or earn. Instead, we recognize that love is a natural state that comes from within. By nurturing our relationship with ourselves and surrounding ourselves with positive, supportive people, we invite the right kind of love into our lives. This love isn't perfect, but it is authentic and fulfilling because it comes from a place of mutual respect and understanding. As you embrace the full spectrum of love, both for yourself and others, you will begin to notice a transformation in your relationships. You will attract partners who are aligned with your values and who appreciate you for the person you truly are. New love will flow effortlessly into your life because you have created the emotional foundation to support it. The power of authentic love and the illusion of perfection. One of the greatest misconceptions we have about love is that it needs to be perfect in order to be real. We've all seen portrayals of perfect relationships in movies, advertisements, and even social media. These portrayals set unrealistic expectations and make us believe that love is something that should come effortlessly and without conflict. The truth is, authentic love is not about perfection, it's about being fully present with another person, accepting each other's flaws, and growing together. Authentic love involves vulnerability, honesty, and acceptance. It means showing up for each other not just during the good times, but also during the difficult ones. There will be disagreements, misunderstandings, and challenges in every relationship. The key is not to avoid these moments, but to approach them with compassion, understanding, and a willingness to work through them together. This is the kind of love that strengthens relationships and makes them more meaningful over time. When you stop chasing the illusion of perfect love and start embracing the imperfections, you open yourself to deeper, more real connections. These connections are rooted in mutual respect and understanding, and they bring a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction that superficial perfection could never provide. Authentic love, grounded in acceptance and emotional resilience, is the love that brings long-lasting happiness and peace. Transforming your relationship with love, the final shift. The final shift in your journey to transform your relationship with love is understanding that true love does not come from external sources. It is not something you can find or earn from others. Instead, love is something you create from within. This inner love radiates outward and attracts others who resonate with your authentic self. When you love yourself unconditionally, you stop seeking external validation, and you no longer feel incomplete or dependent on others for your happiness. You become a magnet for love because you are already whole and at peace with yourself. This shift from external to internal love is the ultimate transformation. It is the key to attracting healthy, fulfilling relationships and to experiencing the kind of love that nourishes your soul. This process isn't instant. It takes time, patience, and continuous self-work. But as you journey inward and start to change your beliefs and behaviors, you will see a profound shift in your relationships. You will no longer settle for love that diminishes you, but instead, you will create space for love that lifts you up and supports your growth. True love begins when you recognize that you are deserving of it, just as you are. In conclusion, the journey to understanding love is not about seeking it externally from others, but about recognizing and nurturing the love that already exists within you. By accepting yourself fully, forgiving past wounds, setting healthy boundaries, and embracing authentic love, you can transform your relationships and experience the deep, fulfilling connection that you deserve. Remember, love is not something you need to chase, it's something you become. When you love yourself unconditionally, you attract people who will love you just as deeply and genuinely. The relationships you've been longing for are not out of reach, but rather, they are within you, waiting to be realized. Now, as you embark on this path to self-love and emotional growth, keep this in mind: the love you seek is not a destination. It is a journey of transformation, and it starts with you. Be kind to yourself, embrace your imperfections, and watch as the love you've always desired begins to unfold in your life. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video has helped you gain a deeper understanding of how to transform your relationship with love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights on personal growth, self-love, and emotional healing. You're worth it, and love begins with you. See you in the next video.